Hey guys, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, thanks. And also let me know where y'all are watching from and at what time. I'm curious. People always assume antique dealers have this quaint, cozy life. Tea and porcelain cups, the scent of old books, maybe a cat named Pickles who sleeps on stacks of dusty National Geographics. My life was more paranormal yard sale meets mild tetanus. I just finished packing up a bunch of church pews from a barn that smelled like regret and raccoon urine when I got the call. A man's voice, tight and nasal. "Miss Langley, we need someone to clear out salvageable items from the Ashcroft property. It's a rush job." The Ashcroft house, a 3-story Victorian that had gone up like kindling the week before. It was one of those cursed-looking homes that leaned just slightly like it had a secret. Local kids said it was haunted. Adults said it was historic. Same thing, really. I drove out there before sunset, hoping to beat the bats or whatever else decided to call a half-burned husk home. Most of the top floor was ash. The wallpaper downstairs was scorched black, and the whole place smelled like charcoal and lavender. Odd mix. That's when I saw them. 7 mirrors, tall and oval, leaned against the only wall still standing in the main parlor. They were too clean, untouched, like the fire had skipped right over them out of courtesy. 6 were flawless. The 7th, center one, had a spiderweb crack running through the middle, like something had punched it from the inside. And here's where I should have said, nope, and left. But I'm Ellie Langley, finder of treasures, ignorer of red flags. I hauled the mirrors one by one into my van, cursing under my breath because each one weighed as much as a guilt trip from my mother. As I lifted the cracked one, something in the mirror flickered. A blur of motion, a woman. I turned. No one, just me, my van, and a squirrel the size of a microwave watching me from the tree line. I muttered, "Cool, hallucinations. Either I'm dehydrated or haunted. Again." Then I laughed. It sounded less like a laugh and more like the sound you make when you stub your toe and pretend it's fine. As I secured the cracked mirror in the back, it slipped. My heart nearly left my body. I watched in horror as it toppled forward, bounced off the edge of a toolbox, and didn't break. Not a single shard. I stood there staring at it like it owed me an explanation. Mirrors don't do that. Glass doesn't bounce, but that one did. I slammed the doors shut and told myself it was just luck. Just one of those days. I didn't know then what I was really bringing home, but I'd learn. And I'd never look in a mirror the same way again. My antique shop, Ellie's Oddities, sits on the edge of town like a forgotten bookmark. Half the locals think it's charming. The other half think it's cursed. I cater to both. The morning after the Ashcroft run, I unloaded the 7 mirrors and laid them out in the back room like sleeping giants. 6 of them had this gilded gold trim, curled like thorny vines. Victorian over-the-top nonsense. They'd be a dream for collectors or anyone who decorated with phrases like statement piece or a touch of the macabre. The cracked one I kept in my workshop, for repairs or possibly to ward off demons, either or. My cat, Miso, who survived 2 moves, 1 ex-boyfriend, and a fall off a 2nd-story banister, took one look at that cracked mirror and hissed. Then he bolted under the couch like it had called him by name. Not a great sign. Miso hisses at vacuum cleaners and ghosts in that order. I hung the 6 unbroken mirrors around the store, spaced them out, gave them their own little corners like they were dangerous spices in a cursed pantry. Customers started commenting on them immediately. Why do these mirrors feel cold? I look weird in this one. Is it supposed to make me look like I haven't slept in 6 days? That last one stung. I hadn't slept in 6 days. Not properly, anyway. I'd been having dreams, muffled voices, firelight, a woman's silhouette behind a wall of flame, and there was always a mirror in the room, always. The cracked one stayed on my workbench, covered with a sheet most of the time. I tried to forget the way it bounced off the toolbox, tried to ignore how it sometimes looked like there were fingerprints inside the glass, smudging from the other side. I told myself I needed to fix it. It was a good piece. Restoration was my specialty. So I took a cloth, some resin, a magnifier, and for the first time uncovered the mirror under good lighting. And that's when I saw it. In the very center of the webbed crack was a face, not a reflection, a face etched faintly into the fracture lines. A woman pale with eyes like dark ink. I blinked. Gone. I muttered, "Okay, Ellie, you're just seeing things again. Like that time you thought the thrift store mannequin was flirting with you." I tried to laugh. It didn't come out right. That night I stayed late at the shop doing inventory and staring at my own reflection in the shop mirrors, watching them watching me. I locked the doors, turned out the lights, and whispered, "You break, you buy," like it was a joke. Except no one was laughing, not even me. It happened on a Tuesday. Bad things always happen to me on Tuesdays. I once got food poisoning, a flat tire, and dumped on the same Tuesday. I should just sleep through them. I was cataloging an armoire that smelled like mildew and broken dreams when I heard a soft clink from the back workshop, the kind of noise glass makes when it shifts against wood. I froze. Miso, perched like a gargoyle on the counter, puffed up like he'd seen Satan in a bathrobe. He let out a low growl and bolted again. At this point I should have hired an exorcist or a dog. I went into the back half expecting to find the cracked mirror shattered on the floor. But it was still there, propped up exactly where I'd left it. Sheet pushed off like something had peeled it away. That's when I saw her, in the glass. There was no mistaking it this time. No flicker, no trick of the eye. The woman in black was standing right behind me, staring into the mirror. She was barefoot, her dress charred at the hem, long hair draped over her shoulders like wet ropes. And her face, oh God. Her face, it wasn't angry, it was expectant. I spun around so fast I nearly pulled something in my spine. Nothing. Empty room, my workbench, paintbrushes, dust. No barefoot Victorian specters. I turned back to the mirror. She was gone. Not slow dissolve, not fade into shadow. Just gone. "Okay," I whispered, clutching my shirt over my wildly pounding heart. "This is fine. Everything's fine. I'm just haunted. Happens to everyone eventually, right?" The worst part, I still didn't leave. I didn't burn the mirror or call a priest. No, I did what any idiot with a brain full of denial and a savings account tied to antique sales would do. I went back to work. The next morning, I got a phone call. It was Janine, one of my regulars. Sweet mid-60s, always wore sun hats and too much perfume. She'd come in the day before and stood admiring one of the flawless mirrors for a full 10 minutes. Said it made her feel young again. She was found that morning in her apartment, burned. The fire marshal said it started spontaneously in her bedroom. Her mirror was completely melted, but the rest of the place was barely touched. I hung up and stared at the mirror she'd admired. I swear to you, it was glowing. For the first time in years, I locked the front door of my shop in the middle of a business day. I stood in the center of those 6 mirrors, heart pounding in my ears, and said, "What the hell are you?" Behind me, I caught the barest ripple in the cracked glass. A smile. I once told myself I wasn't the kind of woman who Googles her own death omen. Turns out I absolutely am. After Janine's death, I pulled the store's closed sign and locked myself in with a pot of coffee, my laptop, and a growing sense of dread that had taken up permanent residence somewhere near my spleen. I started with the house, Ashcroft Manor. Built in 1876 by Elias Ashcroft, a wealthy textile merchant who married young, made a fortune, and apparently died in a suspicious accidental impalement. I don't even want to know. But it wasn't Elias who caught my attention. It was Margaret Ashcroft, his widow. She inherited the estate, grew increasingly reclusive, and was eventually arrested for practicing unnatural rites, which for Victorian times probably meant she dared to read a book without a man present. Except Margaret didn't just vanish into scandal, she vanished, literally. During her final trial, she reportedly screamed something in Latin, shattered a courtroom mirror, and disappeared. Poof, no body, no ashes, no witnesses, just broken glass. The newspapers called her the Witch in the Looking Glass, a name only a 19th century editor could love. The deeper I dug, the more unsettling it got. Every 10 to 20 years since her disappearance, someone who owned one of the Ashcroft mirrors died under weird, usually fiery circumstances. 7 mirrors, 7 owners, 7 deaths. And now I had them, all of them, 6 intact, 1 cracked, except I hadn't bought them at an estate sale. No one sold them to me. They were just there in that burned-out house, waiting like party guests at a seance. I told myself it was coincidence, bad luck, maybe I was going nuts. But I couldn't ignore the pattern. I reached out to a guy I know, Roger, an estate lawyer who dabbles in weird historical cases. He's the kind of man who collects Civil War teeth and owns a haunted doll named Crispin. "Ellie," he said after looking into it, "you really shouldn't have those mirrors." "Great, Roger. Super helpful." He leaned in closer to the camera and whispered, "If I were you, I'd return them or destroy them before the 7th. "The 7th what?" He frowned. "The 7th soul. Each mirror takes one. The last completes the ritual." I closed the laptop and stared at the cracked mirror sitting like an open eye on my workbench. 1 cracked, 6 whole, 6 gone, and me, soul number 7, standing right in the middle of them. I tried to laugh, but it caught in my throat, because something in the mirror, something deep and burning, was laughing already. I did what any rational woman faced with cursed furniture would do. I made a sandwich, peanut butter and banana, comfort food of the almost doomed. Then I called my best friend Sarah. Sarah is the kind of woman who drinks matcha unironically and once punched a mime in college because he wouldn't break character. She's also the only person who never laughed at my haunted object stories. Mostly because she once dated a guy whose attic had a crawl space full of teeth. Long story. She came by the shop the next morning, all sunshine and coffee, unaware she was walking into a paranormal landmine. "Ellie," she said, peering at the mirrors like they owed her money, "why do you look like you haven't slept in 3 years?" I handed her a donut and said, "You ever hear of Margaret Ashcroft? Sounds like someone who writes steamy vampire novels." I explained the history, the missing bodies, the pattern. To her credit, she didn't laugh, but she also didn't believe me. She wandered the shop, stopping in front of one of the unbroken mirrors, the one Janine had admired. "Creepy," she said, tilting her head. "You ever notice how these things sort of hum?" "They what?" She tapped the glass. "Feel this. It's warm." I walked over. The mirror felt like the hood of a car after a long drive. I yanked her hand back. "Don't touch it." "Relax, Ghostbuster. I'm not licking it." She winked, but her hand lingered a second too long. There was a soft crack, just a chip flaking off the corner, barely noticeable. I felt the hair rise on my arms like I'd been electrocuted. Sarah looked down. "Oops, you're not going to charge me for that, are you?" I tried to laugh. It sounded hollow. She left an hour later, promising to bring over wine that night and binge bad documentaries with me. Said I needed a little less haunted history, a little more Real Housewives. She never showed. I found out the next morning. Her neighbor called me, sobbing. Said they found Sarah in her tub, eyes open, water still running, her bathroom mirror fogged on both sides with palm prints that didn't match hers. I dropped the phone. I didn't cry, not at first. I just stared at the mirror she'd touched, watched the chip in the corner slowly vanish, as if it had never broken at all. There were 6 mirrors hanging in my shop. 6 mirrors, 6 souls, only one left, mine. And the worst part? The cracked mirror on my workbench had started to mend itself. You ever been in a room with something you know is watching you, but every time you look, it pretends it wasn't? That was me, in my own shop, with my own mirrors. I couldn't touch them. I couldn't get rid of them. I couldn't let anyone else touch them either, as I was now sure that touching them activated the curse and would kill them. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. My voicemail piled up. Miso moved into the pantry and refused to come out unless bribed with tuna and promises I couldn't keep. And me? I spent most nights sitting in front of the cracked mirror with a flashlight and a bottle of super glue, like a deranged surgeon operating on a corpse that didn't want to stay dead. I told myself if I could fix it, if I could seal the crack, I could end this. Trap her, lock the witch away before Mirror 7 did its thing, and turned me into a human lantern. Of course, this plan had one small flaw. I had no idea what I was doing. Every time I applied a little resin, the crack would seem to heal, and then unheal when I turned away, like it was breathing or toying with me. The other mirrors weren't helping. I started seeing things in them, not ghosts, people I knew, Janine, Sarah. Faces half-formed in the reflection, floating like memories in a foggy pond, calling my name with mouths that didn't move. And worse, my reflection started acting weird. I'd turn my head, but in one mirror my reflection would turn a moment too late, or blink while I was still staring. One time it smiled when I wasn't smiling. I told myself I was sleep-deprived, grieving. Cursed, probably, definitely cursed. Still, I kept working. One night, after another failed attempt at sealing the crack, I dropped my resin brush and let out this guttural scream that came from somewhere deep and cracked inside me. "What do you want?" I shouted at the mirror. That's when I saw it. For the first time, all 6 hanging mirrors glowed faintly in unison, a dull amber light, like candle flames behind fogged glass. And in each one I saw a woman in black. Not one woman, 6 of them. Each mirror held a different version of her. Hair curled different ways, dresses scorched in different places, some crying, some smiling. They were all watching me, waiting. I stumbled backward into the cracked mirror and caught myself just before I touched it. The hair on my arm stood up like static. I whispered, "Don't look twice, don't look twice." Because if I did, I knew I wouldn't be the one looking back. They say you can't smell things in dreams. That's how you know they're not real. Whoever said that never met Margaret Ashcroft. It was just past 3 in the morning, officially the time of ghosts and terrible decisions. I'd fallen asleep at my workshop table, head against a stack of mirror polish receipts when something woke me. Not a sound, not a whisper, just heat, like standing too close to a bonfire. The cracked mirror was glowing, soft orange, pulsing like a heartbeat. Not just the glass, the frame. The gilded edges shimmered like they were backlit by flames. And inside, it wasn't me staring back, it was her. The woman in black stood in a burning room that was not my workshop. Behind her, fire curled across wood panel walls, smoke billowing like angry ghosts. Her face was streaked with soot, but her eyes, those ink-black, ancient eyes, locked onto mine like a nail through wood. I didn't move, couldn't. And then the mirror opened. Not literally. There wasn't a portal or some Harry Potter CGI nonsense, but it was like watching a memory someone else left behind. The scene sharpened, became real. I saw Margaret, younger, standing at the center of a noose-tight crowd in what looked like a town square. Victorian garb, pitchfork energy, a stake, flames licking the base. She wasn't screaming, she was chanting, low and rhythmic, in a language I didn't know but somehow understood. Each syllable felt like it pressed against my ribs. Her voice didn't tremble, didn't plead, it commanded. And then, just before the flame swallowed her whole, she turned her head and looked straight at me. I swear to God, she saw me watching from the future, from my workshop. She saw me like she was expecting me. And then she spoke, but not in words. Her lips moved in reverse. The language curled inward, the syllables folded like mirrors turned inward on themselves. The room pulsed, my ears rang. The lights blew out, all at once, every bulb in the store. Glass cracked. Miso yowled from somewhere under the stairs. And the mirror, the crack that had been there since day one, it was gone, seamless, whole. I screamed, not because of what I saw, but because I realized somehow I'd helped her. I didn't trap her. I let her out. And in every mirror, every single one, the woman in black was smiling. Here's the thing they don't tell you about cursed objects. You can't just break them. Believe me, I tried. After the fire vision ghost seance nightmare, I didn't even wait for sunrise. I grabbed a crowbar, a hammer, and, because I was feeling theatrical, a fireplace poker. I marched into the shop like a woman possessed. The mirrors were still glowing faintly like dying embers. "All right," I muttered, breath shaking. "Time to redecorate." I went for the cracked one first, even though it wasn't cracked anymore. Not even a scuff on the glass. It looked freshly forged. That made me hate it more. I lifted the crowbar and slammed it into the center. Nothing. Not a scratch. I hit it again, harder, still nothing. The mirror didn't even wobble, like it was bolted to the fabric of reality. Miso meowed loudly from behind a shelf like, "Told you so, dummy." So I did what anyone would do. I lost it. I went at all 7, over and over, with everything I had. Metal, fists, tears. I screamed until my voice cracked, like I could somehow shatter them with willpower and a sore throat. And that's when they started changing. In every mirror she was there, Margaret, in all her forms. 7 versions of her, each different, each watching me with the same smug, knowing calm. In one mirror, she was young and pale, hands clasped in prayer. In another, she was old and twisted, eyes glowing with firelight. In another, her mouth stretched open like a black void, too wide to be human. They didn't move in unison anymore. They acted separately, like a flock of crows all watching the same meal. Me. And then the shop went cold, not chilly, freezing. Frost climbed the edges of the mirrors like spider webs. My breath came out in clouds. The lights flickered, and not in that cliché horror movie way. They fought to stay on, buzzing with a sound like teeth grinding glass. And then the mirrors spoke, not with voices, not words. They vibrated, a low, bone-deep hum that made the fillings in my teeth ache. That hum built until it became unbearable. I stumbled backward and tripped over a floorboard, landed hard. When I looked up, all 7 of them were glowing gold. 7 flames in a circle. 7 women in black. And in the middle, where I'd stood so many times, where I'd polished and dusted and pretended I had control, nothing. No reflection. Just an empty space. Like the mirrors were waiting, inviting. I scrambled to my feet, heart jackhammering, and screamed, "You can't have me!" But the mirrors didn't need to answer. I knew the truth. They already had me. The first thing I noticed when I woke up was that the mirrors had stopped humming. The second thing I noticed was that I didn't have a reflection anymore. I stared at the cracked mirror, now whole, polished, perfect, and watched the room behind me, the walls, the light. Miso on the counter, glaring like I'd interrupted his apocalypse nap. But no me. I waved my hand in front of the glass. Nothing. I leaned in so close I fogged the mirror with my breath, but still, the glass stayed empty. Let me tell you, there is no worse feeling than realizing the world still turns without you in it. I spent the next few hours pacing, screaming at the mirrors, begging, bargaining. I even tried calling Roger again, but all I got was static. Not silence, static, like the phone line was connected to some deep, hollow place that chewed on sound. I knew what I had to do. There wasn't a plan B anymore, so I did the only thing left. I recorded a video. I set up my phone on a tripod in the workshop and hit record. My face looked pale, drawn, eyes ringed like an eclipse. I stared at the camera for a long moment before speaking. "My name is Ellie Langley," I said, "and if you're watching this, I probably don't exist anymore, like physically." I tried to smile. It didn't land. I found 7 mirrors. They belonged to Margaret Ashcroft, a Victorian witch who didn't exactly go quietly. She split herself across the mirrors, stored pieces of her soul in them like creepy horcruxes, except worse, because I helped fix the last one. I glanced over my shoulder at the workshop, now bathed in this low amber light. The air smelled like lavender and fire. I thought I could trap her, stop her, but I think all I did was finish her puzzle. I paused, my voice cracked. "If you ever find these mirrors, don't touch them. Don't look in them, and if you do—" I hesitated. "Don't blink." I clicked off the recording, saved it, and slid the phone into a metal box with a note. "Do not open unless I go missing." I placed the box outside the shop door and turned back toward the mirrors. All 7 now reflected the same thing. Me. But not me. The version in the glass smiled wider, moved more gracefully. Her eyes burned gold like they had swallowed a flame and liked the taste. She raised a hand. So did I. But I didn't mean to. She winked, and my body, walked toward her. Inside, I was already pounding on the glass. I wish I could say I fought harder, that I screamed something brave, that I punched the glass and it shattered like justice. But the truth? I blinked, just once, and that's all it took. In that single heartbeat, she stepped in, and I stepped out. My body moved without me. My hands flexed like they were trying on gloves. My breath came slow, deliberate, like a stranger was testing how lungs worked. I watched it all from the other side of the mirror, silent, weightless, trapped in polished glass. She turned to face me, my face now her face, and smiled. The smile didn't reach the eyes. She adjusted her blouse, ran her fingers through my hair like she was getting ready for a dinner party, and turned off the lights. One by one. I banged on the glass, screamed. No sound came. Miso sat on the counter, tail twitching, watching her with wide, confused eyes. He let out a low, almost questioning meow. She turned and gave him a wink. "You'll adjust." Her voice, in my mouth. She walked out the door like she owned the world, because now she did. And me? I stayed, in the mirror, pounding, watching, waiting. That night, in the darkened shop, the mirrors glowed once more, all 7. And from the shadows she began to hum, low, rhythmic, sing-song soft, like a lullaby for the damned. Her voice floated through the room as the words took shape. Her voice, my lips, the poem. 7 mirrors, each a gate, 7 souls to seal my fate. One by one, their light grew dim, each a hymn, a requiem. Glass to glass, their will undone, till all were many, I was one. No chains, no lock, no whispered vow, one body mine, I wear it now.